Be a thought leader. Grow your knowledge community. Create more mind reach. E-Extension. Imported Fire Ant Identification and Biology, a teaching module for Master Gardener training. Fire ants are usually recognized by their mounds, which are often large, 18 to 24 inches high, and found in open areas. Unlike the nests of most ants, fire ant mounds will not have openings and little visible activity on the mound surface, unless disturbed. Fire ants will build mounds in almost all soil types and prefer open areas, but will also nest in rotting logs, around stumps and trees, and in or under buildings. In some cases, fire ants do not build mounds, and the mound may become inconspicuous, often flattened, during dry weather. In addition, young colonies do not produce easily visible mounds until after several months. Fire ants are generally more aggressive than other ants when disturbed. They will typically swarm by the hundreds from the mound and climb nearby vertical objects to sting. The sting of the fire ant is another identification key. Fire ant stings are very painful. At the least, you will react by forming a white pustule at the site of the sting. Fire ants also have the ability to sting multiple times in a single episode. Fire ants are a very aggressive insect, known for their painful stings, which cause serious medical problems. Fire ant stings are painful, especially in large numbers, and produce a unique pustule. There are two types of fire ant adults: winged reproductives and workers. Workers are sterile females. Their egg-laying apparatus, the ovipositor, has been modified into a stinger. Winged adults are both male and female. If winged females are able to mate with a winged male, they will drop their wings and become a queen of a new colony. Winged males and winged females are easy to differentiate. Winged males have a smaller head in proportion to their thorax. Winged females are more proportional in related to their head, thorax, and abdomen. Adult fire ant workers have different morphs or sizes. This term is called polymorphism. Major and minor workers vary greatly by size. Major workers are often used in identification because of their large size. Not all ant species exhibit polymorphism. Fire ants reproduce during mating flights. Mating flights usually occur on sunny days, 1 to 2 days after a rainstorm, when temperatures are above 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Flights usually occur during the spring and fall, but can occur at any time of the year. This picture illustrates winged reproductives leaving a mound for a mating flight. Mating takes place 300 to 800 feet above the ground. After mating, the female will seek a moist or reflective surface on which to land. This is why winged ants are found so often in swimming pools after a rain. After mating, the male will die. The female is very vulnerable to predators during and just after mating, especially other fire ants. New colonies are founded by a newly mated female. Once a female is mated, she is now called a queen. Once a queen lands, she removes her wings, burrows into the soil, and begins to lay eggs. She will care for these eggs until they hatch and develop into adult workers. The first batch of eggs grow up to be worker ants. Worker ants are sterile females capable of stinging. Workers begin foraging and constructing the mound. Now that the queen has workers, she no longer cares for anyone in the colony, and this will continue throughout her life. A queen can live 5 to 7 years and lay 800 to 3,000 eggs a day. This is equivalent to laying her own weight in eggs. The lifespan of a large worker is about 90 to 150 days as an adult. Small workers only live 60 to 90 days as an adult. Regardless of the size, workers change jobs as they age. The youngest workers are called nurses. Their job is to care for the eggs, immatures, and queens. Middle-aged workers are guards or excavators. They leave the interior of the nest but never venture far from the mound. Foragers are the oldest workers. Their job is to leave the nest in search of food and other resources. Large mounds do not pop up overnight. It usually takes a few months before mounds become clearly visible. A small mound with several thousand ants may be available within 6 months. Fire ant mounds can be easily recognized by their dome or cone shape. They can be quite large, sometimes up to 60 centimeters tall and 60 centimeters wide. Fire ant mounds are usually found in open areas versus shaded areas. Unlike the nest of most other ants, fire ant mounds have no openings and little visible activity on the mound surface unless disturbed. When disturbed, fire ants do not emerge from one single hole. They will emerge from all over the exposed portion of the nest. This is a view of a typical fire ant mound. Fire ants form lateral foraging tunnels extending to and from the mound. These tunnels allow foragers to find food and resources. Along these tunnels, exit and entrance holes can also be found. Within the mound, workers excavate interconnected chambers. Workers can move queens, eggs, larvae, and pupa around the nest by these interconnected chambers. Found below the main mound are deep tunnels. These tunnels reach down to a water source, providing moisture for the fire ants. Fire ants are very territorial and protective of their mound and colony. If the mound is disturbed, the workers will rush to save the queen and immature ants. Workers move immature fire ants and queens around the nest. They do this to provide a near constant temperature and humidity for the queen and immatures. This movement occurs often more than once per day. A fire ant has 4 life stages: an egg, larva, pupa, and adult. The larval stage molts 4 times over a 12 to 15 day period. During each molt, the larva gets a little larger. Instar refers to the developmental stage between molts. 4th instar larvae are the final larval stage before becoming a pupa. 4th instar larva is the only stage of fire ants that can eat solid food. The black arrow in this photograph indicates a food particle being consumed by this larva. Fire ants eat a variety of foods, from live insects to plants. Fire ants are excellent foragers and can search out food in a seemingly desolate area. Foraging ants bring food back to the nest. Because adults cannot digest solid food, this food is fed to the 4th instar larvae, who eat the solid food and regurgitate it from their crops. The regurgitated liquid food is passed to all the members of the colony, including the queen, and consumed. This is called trophallaxis. Fire ant colonies can contain a single queen or multiple queens. Single queen colonies have only one queen. Single queen colonies are usually only found at densities of 15 to 80 mounds per acre, or 7 million ants per acre. Worker ants are very territorial in single queen colonies. The majority of the fire ant colonies in the United States are single queen colonies. Multiple queen colonies have more than one queen in each colony. They are found at higher densities of 200 to 800 mounds per acre, or 14 million ants per acre. These colonies can reproduce by budding. Multiple queen colony workers are not territorial against other fire ants. Although this is not the most common type of colony in the United States, it is the typical form of colony in Texas. To review, single queen colonies, also called monogyne colonies, are territorial and aggressive toward other fire ants of other colonies. Their life is usually limited to their colony, whereas multiple queen colonies or polygyne colonies are not territorial or aggressive toward fire ants of other colonies. They will also adopt a new queen readily, and the colony is usually very long-lived.